Hey guys, Kiki here, Sundays for TheRealvolution, and this week is a free week. And I've had absolutely no idea what to talk about. I mean, I've agonized about this for the last few days, and I just could not think of what I wanted to talk about. And so I was going to do a video for my K&N Comics channel, and I've decided to go ahead and do that for here, because it kind of does lend toward the depression video I did a couple weeks ago, whatever. Yes. As I said, I have bipolar 2, which is I cycle from being depressed to something called hypomania, which is kind of like ADD, and it's really hard for me to be productive. And so things I've learned over the last few years, I mean, as you can see behind me, I have a drafting table with stuff set up. I'm a cartoonist, a comic book artist, a writer, and an illustrator, and I do it professionally. So these are the things that I've learned that helped me to get things done in a timely manner. And so yes, let's get that started. Number one, have a designated workspace. It doesn't have to, and as you can see, there's my drafting table. I'm actually sitting at one of my computer, my desktop that I do digital work at. This is a large space. It does not have to be this large, especially if you're just doing this as a hobby. But if you have the space, set a space up. Even if it's just a corner of your bedroom. Just have a space that's separate, because all these steps really are just to change your mentality to say this is time to get work stuff done. So yes, have a separate workspace. I used to be really bad. I used to have what I used to call my art bag of doom. It was like this 400-pound like huge bag that was pretty much a cartooning studio on the run, and I used to take it with me everywhere, and I'd work wherever I could find time, which was fine at the time, but it still did not lead toward great productivity. And so having an actual workspace, that also leads toward, if you have an actual workspace and things where they're supposed to go, you also know when you're running out of something, or if something needs to be replaced, or if you need something. I was really bad about replacing things that didn't need to be replaced, and which is why I have an obscene amount of pens right now. And knowing when you're out of something or low on something. Yes, so have a designated area so that you know that when you're in that area, it's time to get work done. Number two, distractions. Try to keep them to a minimum. I work in a space that I need computers. I mean, as I said, I'm sitting at a computer right now. I do digital work, and the majority of what I do online. Most of my comic stuff is online, and I need internet for references and things like that. And so if I'm at my desktop, I'm at a computer that has internet access. When I'm at my drafting table, I usually have my netbook with me to look up references. And so I do have the internet there. And if you're going to be in that kind of situation where you do have that near, do not have the internet open, or the sites, those time suck sites like Tumblr or Facebook or whatever. Do not have them open. Not even in a minimized window or a tab in the background. No, close them. It's extremely easy if you already have it open to just click on it for a few seconds. You think, oh, just for a few moments, and then 3 hours go by. No, just keep it closed and save it for those times later on, and that I'll talk about. Yes, another thing is TV. I used to be a big proponent of having the TV in the background. Makes you work better. No, it's a distraction. It's a horrible distraction. Now, unfortunately, my studio right now, about 6 feet this way, I have a TV because it's my living room, and like 2/3 of my living room is studio, and 1/3 of it is living room. It's not the best situation, but I do have it set up to where at least I can't see it unless I contort myself. So that helps. But I'm in the process of finding a new place that's going to have an extra room that I could set a studio up. I actually have a group studio with my brother, who's also a cartoonist. So, yes, just try to keep those distractions out and save those for your break times, which is something I'm going to talk about later on. Another thing is keep your space tidy. I know that especially if you're if you do something either hobby or professionally that is on the creative side, there's a lot of people that talk about how having a cluttered space breeds creativity, and you can have the illusion of a cluttered space without it. As you can tell, I have a lot of artwork and stuff all set up, and you can also have like figurines and things set up. But everything needs to have their place, and that having the figurines, having the artwork and stuff on the walls and stuff like that helps toward the creativity. But having everything in its place as I said earlier, it'll also help like knowing when you're out of something, or if you need something, or if you're good on some tools, or whatever the case may be. Also, don't eat in your workspace. It's something that's really hard for me to break, because I would not. I would eat dinner or lunch or whatever. Whenever I was working, I would eat while I was at my table working, and it really messed with my productivity. It also lent toward having a dirty station. Keep the eating to your break time, something I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But just keep everything tidy, keep everything clean. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfectly spotless, but just keep everything tidy and in its place, because it lends toward that idea, that mentality of, getting work done. The other thing is, know your limits. Know what you can do. Know how long it takes you to get something done. And set time blocks accordingly. And you need to set up time blocks for time for work and time for break. And reward yourself. I mean, if you set a time block and you're done a little early, reward yourself for that. I mean, but use it sparingly. But if you need to eat, as I said earlier, don't eat at your workstation or whatever. If you need to eat, take a break. Go to where your TV is, or take your laptop and go get on Tumblr, or even if you need to take a quick break where you're not going to eat, you can just pull up Tumblr, pull up Facebook, get on there for a little bit, but make sure and set times for you. Alarms are extremely helpful. Yes. So just it's something that's been really hard for me. Just be very aware of what you can do, your time constraints, how long it takes you to do things. Figure that stuff out. Don't just guess. Actually figure it out and set yourself up accordingly, because that will definitely help. Another thing, if you're like me and you work from home, I used to be part of a cartooning studio that was outside of my house, where I actually had to get up and get dressed and get ready, go to the studio like I would be going to work, which was fantastic. But unfortunately, I was with 7 other artists, and I could afford to do that. Unfortunately, I cannot now. As I said, I'm about to move to a place that has extra space, but still, you're at home. And it's so incredibly easy. Just roll out of bed, slap some lounge clothes, or keep your pajamas on, and just go and get to work. But it makes you feel unproductive. If you get up and shower and get dressed in regular clothes, or even nice clothes, it changes your mentality toward, this is time for work. And so you will get work done and be a lot more productive. So yes, do not be slobbish when you're working. Actually get up and get dressed. And shower like I did. That's why my hair is kind of crazy. About to get to work here in a little bit. Last thing I do want to say is, as I said earlier, TV, that's a big distraction, but music can be extremely beneficial when you're trying to get things done, because it helps the time go by, it keeps your spirit lifted. But if you're going to have music, do not have it to where you have to touch it. Have it on something that you could set on, a playlist or something where it just goes through music, at least for a couple of hours, where you don't have to touch it. Because if you have to touch it, that distracts you, it breaks your groove. Yes, this is just, something I've learned. I've worked from home. I've done professional cartooning and stuff like that for about 4 years, and did it as a amateur, aspiring professional for about 6 years before that. And I've had time constraints for the last 8 years, and just trying to get that stuff done, especially when I have those times when I'm in a depressive state, or if I'm in a happy manic state, it helps me stay productive all the time, except for not just in that middle time period. Yes, that's kind of just the whole thing. I know it's a bit long, and I'm sorry, and I hope this has been helpful for people and you care. Anyway, I guess I'll talk to you guys next week. Again, if you have any ideas, any thoughts, anything you want to talk about, please let us know. It's the whole point. It's extremely cathartic for us to talk about these things, but we want things that y'all want to talk about, that you want to know about. So let us know in the comments, on Forum Spring, email us at TheRealvolution@gmail.com. Just let us know, guys, on the Facebook page, if you just do a search for The Real Evolution. So I guess I'll talk to you guys next week.